Welcome, supers, to something a little bit different. It's been a while since I've done an interview that isn't a Shark Tank based interview, it's been I don't even recall the last time I did something that wasn't related to being interviewed at all. So this is something that came across my email, or maybe it was in the comments first and then email. Was it Kaliko? Is that how
Yes,
you
Kalika. Yep.
Kaliko? I said it right. Awesome. Thank you. And so Kaliko reached out and had a story about a one of the Shark Tank products that had been on season, I want to say 12, but it might have been season 13. I think it was season 12 though.
Yeah.
With the oh god, I can't even think of their name. I'm terrible at this. What's their name?
With the, I mean, it was formerly the Tandem Boogie family, but now it's
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
They changed the name?
yeah,
Oh, Tandem Surf.
yeah,
Okay. So Tandem Surf is the company that it was Tandem Boogie though. I guess cuz they've expanded from just boogie boards.
yeah,
Anyway, I I read Kaliko's email and I was intrigued by the idea of bringing on somebody to tell a different side of the story. I think anybody that watches this channel enough knows that I try to stay neutral and I try to stay pro entrepreneur, not pro sharks, not pro big business, but pro entrepreneurs, pro small business, pro getting after your dreams and creating something different and reality, new reality for yourself. So Kaliko, why don't you start by giving some background about yourself and how you got involved with the company that you have a claim about here in a little bit.
yeah, yeah. So, kind of what I do is, I'm all over the surf industry. So from like stand-up paddleboarding to bodyboarding to I do a lot of like sales repping and event planning and things like that. So, my connection to the Tandem Boogie product was originally just they weren't even a brand. They weren't a board. There was no talk of that. They were actually supposed to be an event company. So they were gonna start these events that required kind of like some different boards and some different things. And one of the ideas they had were, oh well, we want to ride with like two people on a bodyboard. And so the company that I represented did just that. And like I said, kind of before we were recording, was I got my first waves riding on this board. It's called a bully board. It's a tandem bodyboard. And this was back in the like early 90s when I was just literally a kid. And so now being an adult and having all this access, we're right in San Diego. They're right in San Clemente. I figured we can just kind of team up. We provide a board, and they have an event. So there was, and that went fine. And so that was kind of my first like introduction to them, and met the whole crew and all their guys. And it was at the San Clemente Ocean Fest like in 2019, but the original talk started in like 2018. So it was quite a long time ago now.
So okay, this is all really recent then. Like, I mean, you've been using the bully board going back to the 90s,
Right.
mid 90s, as a kid. So I have the website pulled up here, the Wahoo bully board
Yeah.
site, for just for reference here. I can make it a little bit bigger. Um so okay, so basically they got involved with the event, if I'm understanding correctly,
Right.
that you guys were putting on, and what was their involvement with the event specifically?
So they specifically like John and his family, I think, were in charge of kind of like bringing something to this surf event. Like they were kind of like the sponsoring. I want to say they had like maybe a company that they were trying to start as like an event company, and so they needed the gear. So what we provided was the board. We didn't do like any marketing or anything for it. It was just like we don't know how to like facilitate this because we don't have a board that can handle two people, and so like we were just filling the need simply because there was nothing else that could support what they were doing. There has been other companies like that make a two-person bodyboard, but they do it very differently. They don't work as well, and like I said, it's just we've done it for so long, and it's such a niche like thing that there's not really any competition. There's no huge like contests on it, but it's very well known in Hawaii and like different places like Tahiti and New Zealand, places where there's like really just bigger guys that need more flotation, and then it turned into taking your girlfriend or your kid, like kind of in the video on our website, it's like perfectly explains. It's just like just a huge bodyboard.
So okay, so they're getting involved, and you said at the time, so Bully Board didn't have the two-person board just yet.
So bully board had a two. We've always had a two-person board. It's there was Tandem Boogie just didn't have. They
Oh,
weren't
you were talking
present.
about Tandem Boogie. Okay, I thought you
Yeah,
were referring to Bully Board didn't actually have a board until
no,
Tandem was like,
bully
"Hey, we
board.
need this. How do
No,
we
no,
get
no.
this?"
They didn't have a board. Tandem Boogie didn't have a board. They were just creating an event, and they were gonna try to find something after. Like they created the event of they called it a Tandem Boogie event, and then so when I saw that, I was kind of like, hey, well, we've been making a tandem boogie board for over 25 years.
Mm.
We can provide the boards for your tandem event, because it was like, oh, the first tandem event in California, all this stuff. But tandem bully boarding is what it's been called, has been running an event in Hawaii for like since 19, so like just over like 30 years now.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
wow, huh? Okay, so uh, you team up with them. How does the event go?
So the event goes really well. Like it's right before COVID. So what happens was it draws a lot of buzz. It becomes kind of like a fan favorite at the event. This is the San Clemente Ocean Festival, which is another long running event. So I think it kind of like spiced up the event for a lot of people, and it was a really good thing. And from there, he wanted to produce right after that. There was no talk of it before, but he wanted us to produce the board for him and have it be called a Tandem Boogie. But it's like we've already made our board. We have our own like customers. It's still like I said, it's very niche, but it's very like important to us to be like a real, like it's a bully board. We're not gonna like make other people's stuff. And then have it get all propped up and whatever. It's everything is handmade by one guy, and it's in our factory in California. It's like very like a designer board. Like it's not something we just like pop out willy nilly. And so it's like a lot of it's put into it, and it's from there, like we told him no, and then we just figured, okay, like he wants to start his own company, that's fine. But from then on, like even I can't see there anything that's on social media. I'm blocked on all of that. All of the companies like Wahoo Internet, the Bully Board company, all of those socials are all blocked. So it's just like a weird thing to have. Like it's obvious that there's many other companies that make a tandem bodyboard, but it's weird that someone would go to the lengths of like trying to erase a connection unless there was something that they felt weird about. So it's just like I said, there's no wrongdoing in creating your own board, but it's the way that you go about it. And then I see there's articles, there's things that where they're like, basically, even in the Shark Tank interview, they said, is anybody doing this? They like panned over to the family directly and they said, this board, no, when clearly like I've taken them out on our boards like with them in front of me and showed them how to do it. So it's like a weird, like maybe not a business gray area, but I think in the surf and like bodyboard industry, that's a very like no kind of thing to do. But there's no legality to it. It's just a very kind of shady thing to do.
No, I don't disagree that that's the case. Now, my question is isn't their tandem boards or I'm sorry, their tandem boards aren't they're inflatable, if I mean, I'm looking at their website here. It says dynamic
Right.
air inflatable. Is the bully board inflatable or is it
So there
solid?
we have both. We have a hard version that was started. That was the original version in the '90s. It's a regular foam bodyboard with kind of like a upgraded version for us. Um, and then we have an inflatable that launched in like 2017, 2018. So
Hmm.
we have all these things, and with surfing, I know a lot of people like in comment sections and things like that would be like, oh well, they went out and got a patent and they did all this stuff. Well, there's not really much you can patent with surfing. A lot of their stuff is going to be patent pending. Like surf designs and shapes are very hard. Like even the name of boogie, like if they would have just researched, no one's been able to use that word because the Mori company, Mori Boogie, like the original bodyboard company, trademarked it and sold it to I want to say it's like Mattel or like one of those like toy companies. So only like the boards that you see in like Walmart or something like that, those can be called technically boogie boards, and like they'll go straight up lawsuit status if you ever try to use the word boogie just in any kind of surf realm. It's a
Hmm.
very big company. So like I mean, I'm not gonna conclude that that's why they changed their name, but I'm pretty sure that's has something to do with it. If you know, it's just like a marketing no in the water sports industry. So I'm probably sure I'm sure they didn't know that, which is like maybe an honest mistake, but um, you know, just
Well,
little
yeah, I
things
mean
like that.
it's the like it's like saying I need a Kleenex, right? Or I
Yeah,
need a
it's yeah, exactly.
Band-Aid. You know, it's
Right. It's
like
like
that's
saying, but just by adding one word, they're like, oh well, we're a tandem Kleenex. It's like that's how it's like gets a little dicey, right? But it's you know, that's again, it's not like there's no problem. Like everybody starts a company and has to figure things out. People rebrand and change, and you know, so that's fine. That's all good and well.
so I don't think I asked what before we start. What's your position in bully board?
So
You
I
mind?
do like events, basically events, and then a lot of the marketing and social media. So like if we ever have to go to be physically somewhere for like an event or like a bodyboard contest or something like that, I'm probably going to be the guy like just there, kind of breaking down equipment, showing like you know the latest and greatest, and then any camps or like nonprofit stuff that we team up with. I'm always out like I'm like the physical guy.
Well, you seem pretty outgoing and
Yeah.
seems like a good fit for you. Plus, I'm sure it's a lot of fun getting to be around the actual surfers and the actual like surfing and
Yes, like
events.
if you like, I love you know doing stuff. I love like media and like filming and everything like that. But like I love kind of just like being in the water. Like if I don't have to be on a computer or at the office, it's like obviously I'm gonna go choose like to be around like all the kids and families and pro surfers and out in the sun. So like we're in California, you might as well take advantage of it. So
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, so look, I mean, these types of things do get uh you know dicey. I want to equate it to the Steve Jobs reality distortion field. Where
right,
it's like everything, it's like, oh, we don't actually have any competition, and that, like, that kind of philosophy of like,
right,
just kind of ignore it. Because I mean, technically, I mean, look, I would love to have a two-person, bully board, or just a two-person boogie board, if I will,
yeah,
in general. But it's not cheap. It isn't like a $40 commitment. It's
no,
something that you
yes,
got
right,
to
right,
definitely use a lot to get your money's worth out of it.
right,
So like I like from that standpoint of the if that is what the tandem family method to taking is, I get it.
yeah,
I don't love it, but I do get it.
right.
Um
I mean, that's and it's like you know I that's why I'm saying there's nothing wrong with having the company and like going about you can go about it however you want to go about it. There's no rules to creating a company when it like you know they're totally within their rights to create whatever they want to create. but it's like the more that, because they want to lean on like it's a small family business and all this stuff. It's like we're like I'm 99% sure that we're an even smaller family business. Like our owner has been doing it since the late 80s. It's like him and like 10 of us maybe that do this one little thing in this niche market, and then to see someone like kind of like posture it up as like they've done it their from their own family inception and things like that. That's just a little like disheartening, but it's not illegal. So it's like you can go ahead and do that, but it kind of takes away from anybody else. There's a lot of other like long running bodyboard companies that make the board. So like I think the most recent thing that, just because people like just throw stuff on our table, because I don't see any of their social media or anything. Like I don't really take the time to go and like use another account to see it, because like we're just blocked. We don't see anything. Um, but people will send like articles and they're saying like, oh hey, well this like whatever review company said that like, oh they created this in California in 2020. Well, it's like, okay, well they created that tandem boogie, but they did not create tandem bodyboarding. Like we have tandem boarding tandem bodyboarding contests that predate everybody that works with tandem. It's just like it's just very misleading. So it's nothing to talk bad about them. It's just maybe the way that they just let things go. And then now they've kind of gone past. I think it's like I said, it's a very small market anyways, and it's tandem bodyboarding. Bodyboarding alone is very a small like diehard group of people. So tandem bodyboarding is even smaller. And I think they've gone into surfboards and like paddle boards now, and it's because it's not a very big business. Like,
Yeah, well, again, when the price is what it is,
yeah,
it's you got to get a lot of use out of it to make it worth that price.
right,
I mean, unless you're just made of money, then it's like it's whatever it is, right? But
right,
not
right, right.
everybody. There's so few people that want that experience, and then even fewer people that just have money to just throw at it to get it, regardless
Yes,
of
yeah.
that the cost of entry.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's a premium product, and like for us, the way like I mean, really we service like mainly California and like kind of some West Coast people, but it's like it's really about Hawaii, because those are the families that know about it and grown up around it, and like the there's a big contest there every year on Oahu called Buffalo's Big Board Classic. So it's literally like all these different ways to ride waves. There's like a 16-foot inflatable paddle board, and like it's called a sub squash. So, like there's all these crazy boards and ways to ride waves, and a bully board has been a part of that for, like I said, like 30 years. So that's like just fueling, that's the market for us. Like we just care about those families that like keep wanting them every year, because like it's just like the way that I grew up in it. Like I grew up doing that contest with my dad. So like when I have kids, like I'm gonna go take them to that contest and I'm gonna use a bully board. So that's just really what it is as far as like the tandem market. Like there's really not a market for it. I'm sure there's people that are going to buy it for one-offs, and if they have money, like you said, to throw at it. But it really is just kind of like a labor of love, because it's like I said, it's not a huge, crazy, profitable thing. So which is interesting, because like to see them now pivot, it's like it's obviously it's cool that they're doing something else as well. But yeah,
Well, so all right, so a couple things. So I mean, we see this in the tank quite. I mean, I've seen it quite a bit where, not in the case of what you're specifically saying, but where people
yeah,
are like, "Oh, I invented this," and it's like you go to AliExpress.com and I could buy 10,000 of them,
right,
and it's
yeah,
like, why,
yeah, yeah,
why? Like, just tell the truth. It's a
right,
hustle, right? Like, and that's
yeah,
fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but misrepresenting what you think or what you believe you have patents to get, or the ability to get patents, and what you
right,
created, and like we see people that, like the one guy from Lumio that like slept in a factory in China to be able to bring something to life that
right,
never existed before. Like that's a big difference from just saying, "Oh, I found that next thing, let me do some drop shipping on
right.
the next
And
big thing."
Yeah, and unfortunately with water sports, and like anything that can be copied does. So it happens like every like few months we find something that's like a direct copy. So like inflatable boards and body boards, paddle boards, like you probably see them on Amazon everywhere. They're really easy to make, and there's not much to them. It's like fabric glue, and then what they call is drop stitching is how they keep it the shape. And so you can go to anybody and like produce that and get your colors and shapes, and then come back to America with them. And so it requires like it doesn't require any testing or anything because it's just you're just creating like a blow up, like kind of like a piece of toast almost.
Hmm.
And so that's what it looks like. Maybe they try to copy like our hard version, but a lot of companies can't really produce the way because, like I said, we have a guy that is like literally he's been doing it for decades, hand shapes and makes all of them, and they work really well. And that's his process. That's his like labor of love. And to go to just a fly by night factory, you're not going to get the same quality. And then with an inflatable, it's just there's less work going into it because you're just having the factory like pop them out and then you're selling it. So I think that's where kind of the disconnect is. I mean, as far as like quality and like maybe like researching, design and things like that, it's just they wanted to get something made, and so boom. And so yes, they did patent and maybe invent that style. Like they added some more handles, or they did something to make it unique for patent's sake. But the idea of riding together tandem or doing anything like that is not something that you can patent. I think that's even why tandem, the word tandem is spelled differently. I think it's just TANDM,
Uh,
like DM,
y-
tandem
yeah, they
surf.
took apparently there was an E in it, and they took the E out.
Yeah, so I think that's again is
Like if
just
you
they're being
look
very
here.
they're being very ambitious with it. It's like tandem. They want to be associated with those words, right? So it's just there's just some things I think they just overlooked as far as like the way they tell their story. I mean their branding and everything. I think it was just like a little misleading. But they're doing their thing, so it's nothing to like knock on a family hustle, or I mean a family grind. It's not like the hustle. I'm not knocking the hustle. It's like literally like the family grind because I would love to have that like with my family eventually is like we all kind of like enjoy something and we come up with something and produce it the right way. That's like amazing. That's like that's the dream. So
So, okay, so two questions left on my mind is
yeah,
does the founder of Bully Board know that you were coming here to for an interview to talk about this uh
yeah. So we
situation?
are like we are to talk. We're here like he knows we're here to talk about it. But we're like it's like I said, it's not to like to bash or to create any type of like thing. It's just the bodyboard industry as kind of like a whole is like it's like I said, it's very small and like everybody kind of talks and they're just like it's like hey are you guys connected to this? Like it was a very confusing like year and a half because the way that it was the way that we got connected with them in the very beginning and then the way that we had to disassociate because we've been known across the board as kind of like the tandem board guys, the tandem board company. um, but being that we were in such a small like market, it was never a problem. Like branding wise, no one ever could really keep up with us, I guess, or like it would kind of fizzle out. So the fact that he's like, he stayed on it, and it just creates like a little bit of confusion. So that's on his part, on our owner's part. It's like this is his baby as well. So like he created something with his family that he started years and years and years ago, and he's in his late like 60s now. So like the same way that I'm sure their family, the Clark family, is this is their baby. This was our owner's baby years and years before. And so when he sees someone kind of like not representing it the right way, I think that's where it kind of pulls a heartstring where, it's not a big, huge money grab, but it is just like something personal to him. And so um, I know there probably is like some legalities that they're working on. Um, but for the most part, I think it's just like, it's not, like I said, it's not to knock or do anything to them. It's just kind of a misleading story that's out there. So I mean, that's all.
So finally, I would like to say what. Well, actually, I real quick a side story. I know somebody, actually know two people, where one person utilized the other person's service and then straight up like created the same service for themselves after
Right.
paying to utilize that service for a number of months.
Right.
And then had to go and like head on compete with each other. So I mean, this isn't like the first or the last time that anything
Right.
like this will happen. And I think, you know, when I think about it, like there's the business side, the morale side, and then there's the community side. And I think that, you know, when you're in businesses that are so entrenched in the community that is built around them, I think it's a lot more important to know that everybody, people feel a certain way about their community and how things are
Right.
represented, talked about, certain words that are used. It's say
Right.
you say this, not this.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, to me, like in the grand scheme of things, a lot of that kind of seems trivial, especially from the outside. But to
Right.
those people, like it matters, and I've been a part of that, right? As a DJ, as a content creator, as a gamer, a PC
Right.
gamer specifically,
Right.
these things do matter to a certain extent, especially when other people are finding out, about music, subgenres. It's this genre, not that genre,
Right.
or things like that. I think so. Like I get all three sides
Right.
of that of this story, and so finally, I'd like to ask you, and through the words of your for your founder as well, what would you like to say directly to John, since you guys apparently don't have any direct access with being blocked, which is unfortunate because, look, I'm the first to say, like, oh, let's, free speech and let's, go back and forth. Look, beef creates business, right?
Right.
It does help business. It does help views. It
Right.
does help people get involved and take sides and ramp things up. We see it politically. We see it with Coke and Pepsi. We see it with lots and lots of
Right.
examples of the world.
Exactly.
But um, but what would you and for your founder like to say directly to John in now that you have the floor?
I mean, just moving forward, just have a more truthful kind of thing. Cause like, I mean, I like, again, I don't want to tell someone what to say, right? Like we can't tell them how to say something, but it's just like, if there was an idea that you needed help with, like, there was, you had nowhere else to go for a board, you found a company that did it, but you thought maybe, hey, we could do it better. So like, it's just something like that. Like we tried these other companies and they were doing tandem bodyboarding, but after seeing that, we did it. It's just little things like it gets down to that, just like two words, and it's like, okay, you're acknowledging like, hey, you didn't create something, because it's just having a very open and truthful like start, I think goes so much further than trying to posture and like claim something that it's like you're claiming this gray area of like of something that there's no legal wrongdoing, but it's like, hey, your small business is stomping on another small business guy, and it's like, so just tell the full kind of a spectrum, be very transparent moving forward. Like if someone writes an article and it says, hey, we as a family invented something, you can say that, hey, like we have improved upon something. So hold people accountable and just fit into the space that you created, and it's good that you're bringing light onto something like tandem bodyboarding, which I said is very small, but the origin story and the way that it came about, it's not like you have to redact and monitor everything. But when there's people calling us and asking if we're tandem boogie or if we're, because it's just very confusing. So clearly separating, and we can compete and we can be at, contests and event shows and trade shows together. That's great. Like I would love to have that battle of like let's outdo each other, but to ignore it and to kind of like sweep it away and pretending like it's not there is just doesn't seem very like fun. I rather have it be like a fun thing rather than like oh man, this guy did this to us and this and he said she said kind of thing. I'd rather have like a Coke and Pepsi. I'd rather have a head to head where we're pushing the limits of the sport rather than have it be like a divorce court back and forth bitter thing. So
Well, it gets attention, and attention equals more people paying attention, and more attention
right,
creates more potential customers for a small, niche industry,
right,
or a hobby, hobby slash pro industries, I guess the closest word I can think of right now. But
right,
yeah, right. So to me, that's something that is helpful for both, for everybody, increasing the market share or the market cap
right.
that of people that know about and are interested in buying it. So well, I hope that John will listen to the words and maybe just look at what he's doing and how he's going about it, and just reevaluate, and I think it's important for you guys to look. Even the biggest competitors get along, right? Like we've seen price
Right,
fixing in a lot of different industries over the years, over
right,
the
right.
decades. So I think that there's it's good to have those back channels, and unless there was something that was a deliberate attack, like between like his, your Wahoo
Yeah,
founder and
right.
him,
And
like they like
yeah,
had a fist fight or something because over a disagreement. Like I could see them not getting along
yeah,
and maybe going the opposite direction. But if that is not the case, I think it's more beneficial to try to work together
right.
in that, and look, and that
Yeah,
pushes you guys further, right? Like, hey, look,
right.
they added more handles to theirs, right? What are you
Yeah,
guys going to do to one up them, right?
exactly.
And
And
go
that's
back and forth.
yeah, and that's I think the biggest takeaway is like through all of this, it's like it's not to say like, oh my gosh, they stole or they did, it's like they created a competition, but it's like it just when things start to blur together, it just needs to be a very clear separation. It's like this is one company. They started, they thought they could improve and do better. So, and we've been doing it for a long time. It's like you can pick between the two. Like there's room in the world for more than one board, which is like, I've gotten some. I get like when it all first happened, it was very like, I made like an Instagram video where it was like, hey, like this company like they're making their own boards now, and from then it like turned into a very like sour thing. But it's just like it doesn't need to be that. I think maybe that's we got blocked and all that stuff and we just don't see anything. It doesn't need to be so I guess like swept under the rug. It's like I'd rather have it be a rivalry and like literally like you said, like they're doing one thing, like let's outdo them. Like I love like the competitive aspect of pushing the limits and design and things like that. So I'd rather have like open conversation rather than have it be like a messy, blurred line kind of thing. So yeah.
Well, Kaliko, I really appreciate you taking the time today. I appreciate your founder. What's your founder's name?
So that his name's Gary Fisher.
Gary Fisher. I
Yeah.
appreciate Gary Fisher enabling this conversation to happen as well, and hopefully, who knows what will come of this. Maybe it'll be
Yeah.
a couple months from now, and something will arise from this. You never know who's watching, who's listening, and all that. So, one last, if you could, plug the website that people can go and check out Bully Board.
Yeah. So you can go to bullyboard.com. We've got boards, all shapes and sizes. What we really specialize in is big rider boards. So if you're just getting back from like an injury or something like that, these are the boards that kind of like can get you back in the water. They're really buoyant. They're just like boogie boards on steroids. And that's bullyboard.com. And we're on social media. Wahoo Bully Boards, and we always have videos and pictures and everything going on there, so you can check on all those socials. And we're at pretty much all the local events in California, and coming up in Hawaii too. So we're all over the place.
I love how the sport's called the Buffalo. It's for over 400 pounds.
Yeah, it's literally like the big. I mean, it's got like such a big real estate on there. Like you can have, like, if we wanted to, like you and me could both go on it, and we're gonna ride waves. Like just
No, no way.
it's so huge and buoyant. Like it holds like so much real estate in the lineup. Like people like just laugh at it because it's so big, and we're doing spins and turns, and like that's like the contest. Those are a couple pictures. Like that's a husband and wife. So I mean, it's just like it's a crazy thing, and most people don't see it. So that's why, it's really it's my highlight every year when I go to Hawaii to do that contest. So I definitely would
Wow.
encourage people to check it out and watch some of the videos, because this is like we're doing like real surf maneuvers because it is a hardboard. Inflatables, it's a little bit harder, but yeah, they're super fun.
What is the weight of this? Oh, wow, it's only 40 pounds.
Yeah, yep.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, that is pretty cool. Kaliko, thanks again for being here. Thank you for watching to the end. I'll see you in one of these two videos right here. Take care and go be super.